Good morning. Today, I am super excited to announce that Ryan Jones with Pretzel PPC has joined our Network and Action business community. Ryan, welcome. We're super excited to have you.
Thank you, Jessica. Happy to be here.
Yes, and I have to tell people PPC means pay per click. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to ask you a few questions about your business, kicking it off with what inspired you to start your business and how has that vision evolved over time?
Yeah. Um, so I've worked at a couple ad agencies over the past, and basically I thought that I could do things better myself after I got sick and tired of being told to do things in ways that I didn't really like that much. So that's the short answer.
Yeah.
I think that's
You know,
probably
but a lot of
been
entrepreneurs
quite a
kind of
few of
kick
us.
kick it off that way with
Yeah.
I didn't want to work for somebody else ultimately. I wanted to be the boss.
Right. Yeah. And I'm cool with subordinating myself to other people. I'm able to follow, able to lead, and hopefully everything in between. But I think that pay-per-click ad management should be done in a pretty specific way, or at least it should be approached in a very specific way. I mean, tactically, how it's done, there's endless ways to skin the cat, but there's definitely some ways that I don't think it should be gone about, and I'm happy to not do those.
Yeah. Can you tell us, I mean, we all know being a business owner comes with its challenges. We've seen the statistics. I know you've faced challenges since you launched. Can you tell us some of the major challenges that you've been able to overcome?
Yeah. Um, I think a lot of it is been in client management, expectation setting.
Hmm.
A lot of clients have worked with tons of ad agencies in the past. It tends to be a really high churn sort of area. I mean, I wish it weren't like that, but that's just kind of how it has been. Where businesses will they'll hire one ad agency, they'll stick with them 6 months, 12 months, maybe even longer, and they'll move on to the next one. I do think there is something to be said from extracting all the information and strategy you can out of an ad agency and then trying to do it yourself, bring it in house or go elsewhere and use those insights on your own. But I think that that's not how most businesses are going about it. I think they're having a really suboptimal experience over and over and over, and they're just like bouncing like a ping pong ball off different
Yes.
ad agencies as opposed to uh, going through them and like squeezing some nice juice out of each one and then moving on to the next one to get something different out of them. So, with that in mind, I think that a big challenge has been trying to explain, like, no, this is how we should approach this. It might not be the easiest way, but we're going to build a nice foundation for you. Instead of telling you everything is going to be some great secret sauce and we're going to keep everything behind the curtain, we'll say, like, no, you have to own your own ad account. You have to be able to boot me off, tomorrow at 2 in the morning if you feel like it or whatever. Like, I'm not going to own this. I'm not going to hold this hostage. There is no secret sauce. It's showing up and doing it all the time and actually caring about it. We don't pretend like there's some sort of proprietary method going on here, at least for most of the home services lead generation stuff I've been doing. Maybe if it's a extremely specific, shopping or e-commerce sort of thing, then I could see there being trade secrets involved, but not so much on the lead generation side of things. So just setting those expectations, telling them that there's going to be some pain involved in getting things up and running, but we're trying to build a machine here. It's like turning a big super tanker around. It's like it doesn't turn
Mm-hmm.
on a dime. It's going to take a little while to turn around, and it'd be better if we figure out where we should point it first before we set sail. So that's kind of a lot different from the okay, here's your onboarding. Okay, here we go. It's gonna be wonderful immediately. Sort of things that the salespeople of ad agencies are used to telling.
I'm really glad that you say this because I'm a business coach, and oftentimes we are hiring digital marketers for the clients that I work with. And this is, you're hitting the nail on the head, right? In terms of the disappointment that the client has. And so I feel like um, I need to let them know on the front end. Sometimes it can take a while to see results. Like, what's your threshold here? Kind of go
Right.
managing those expectations, setting them, letting them know what to expect with you so they kind of know what the game plan is.
And it is true that there are some disadvantages to being a one-man show, but one of the advantages is that you're not talking to some salesperson who promises you the sun, the moon, and the stars, and then summarizes this in 2 bullet points and passes it off to someone who then passes it off to someone else who actually does 95% of the work in the ad account itself. Because I think that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah. Tell us beyond the financials, how do you define success?
Flexibility and the freedom to live my life the way I see it.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of stuff to do, and honestly, I don't know how I would go about doing it if I were working at some plaster and drywall filled building from 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. 5 days a week. There's uh there's too much stuff to do, and then in
Yeah.
the wintertime, that's like all the daylight hours, and I think
Yeah.
that's a pretty depressing thing if you spend all of the daylight hours inside of some unnatural building.
Yeah. And tell us what sets you apart from working with others. Ryan Jones, how are you different from other digital marketers, pay-per-click digital advertisers?
Yeah, I'm in all my ad accounts at least 5 days a week, often
Ooh,
six. Started taking Sundays off, trying to observe the Sabbath there. But otherwise, I'm in each of my accounts looking, at least at the campaign level to see what's going on at least 5 days a week. And so not a lot gets past me. If something breaks, falls apart, starts doing really poorly, it's not going to be that long before I notice. And a lot of the times for ad agencies, they will stack up their fulfillment specialists with a big old book of business that they can only really look at on a weekly basis for each individual account. Like maybe like if they have 20, 25 accounts, they can only look at 4 or 5 accounts a day. And if they do that once a week, there's a lot can happen in a week. And I think there is something to be said for over management. We don't want to do that. And I think I've been guilty of doing a little too much of that sometimes. But I
got
think
to find
that's
that sweet spot.
right, right. And I've been getting better at that over the past couple months. But
Hmm.
I think a little over management is a lot better than being, blissfully unaware of what's going on for 5 or 6 days.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining our business community. We're excited
Yeah,
to
thank you.
collaborate with you and welcome to Network in Action, Ryan.
Happy to be here.